a lot of people accuse me of leading a very boring life, right? And people say to me, I need to go out more, I need to have more fun and everything, and they're totally correct. But the thing is this, when I was a child, I spoke like a child, I acted like a child, and my thoughts were that of a child. Then I became an adult. And truth is, instead of transitioning, I still spoke and acted like a child. So whilst other people have the gift of time to live their lives and do whatever it is they wanted, I had to play catch up and I had to do it very quickly because I had a wake up call to take my growth very seriously. And part of that growth is understanding my purpose here on earth and how to achieve it because it's not even about me. Other lives and destinies are dependent on it. See, the human race thrives on purpose and achievement, and it's why we do most of the things we do. It's why we get an education, get married, have children, get a job, run a business, because it gives us a sense of purpose and achievement. Nobody wants to feel like they're just living a futile life and just existing. We want a sense of belonging. That's why some people even join groups to feel like they belong somewhere. Now, we may be acquiring quite a lot, but achieving a miss. Each and every one of us, and now some people don't believe in this, but so take this as it resonates. Now, each and every one of us was created with a unique destiny, a destined path we're meant to follow. And for as long as we're not operating within our purpose, not walking on that destined path, other lives are being affected. For instance, it may not even be anything big. It may be that one person within a family unit is destined to be the family financier. Now, it doesn't matter if you're the first or the last one, as long as you have the resources. When it comes to financial obligations, the other family members are dependent on you. Now, if you don't get it together on time, those lives that are dependent on you, maybe to sponsor their education, maybe to sponsor businesses for them, their lives and their destinies are being affected because of you. Some people are destined philanthropists, and your purpose is to maybe be a kingdom financier, for instance, and you're to sponsor outreach programs, crusades. Those lives that will be taught during those programs are dependent on you. You may be destined to be a doctor, for instance, and God has given you knowledge to solve medical mysteries. But without the right qualifications, you can't even get to the position to use that knowledge. You're still complaining, 7 to 8 years of medical school. That's too long. When my mates are graduating after 3 years, 4 years, and making serious money, oh, it's way too long for me. I can't do it. Whilst you're making excuses, those that would require your medical expertise are being affected. Imagine if Moses had decided to stay back at the palace with Pharaoh's daughter because he grew up privileged as a prince. Now, if he had decided that that life was too great to pass up for a bunch of people that won't even appreciate it, what would have happened to the millions of people he liberated from Egypt? If David had taken one look at Goliath and run for the hills, Goliath would have slain many more Israelites. Those lives and their destinies were dependent on David, even though he was young. But the truth is, internal growth doesn't have a lot to do with age. John the Baptist could have decided he was tired of living in the wilderness, eating locusts and honey. And yes, he preached and won souls. But his primary purpose was one man he had to baptize, and that was Jesus. Now, what if he had decided to live like the other prophets and just before then he moved to the city and he was tired of the wilderness thing, when Jesus's purpose was actually dependent on him? If Jesus himself had chickened out at the Garden of Gethsemane, because think about it, he was already praying for God to let the cup pass over him, even though he repented of that. But if he had chickened out, what would have happened to the Christian faith today? That's why we need to get it together, take our growth seriously, and quit playing games. Because whilst we're children, we can think, act, and speak as children. But as we transition into adulthood, we need to understand why we're here and how to walk on our destined path. Because so many lives, either one or a million, are dependent on it. Namaste.